Hi, this is Veronica Entwistle, and I'm here to channel MIRICRIS for you and my dear friend Lori Dovey. Lori, hi.
Hey.
She's keeping this whole program together. I'm very excited to be speaking and bringing the spiritual, well, I was going to call it wisps, but the spiritual essence of a lot of what's going on amongst humanity and the way the American political situation is doesn't look like spiritual essence at all, but it's definitely in there. So we're going to channel Miracris to find out if we could comprehend more and more some of the greater details of the spirit aspect of what's going on in our political life.
Yeah, I mean, that's wonderful. Yeah, I know it doesn't seem like it's all that spiritual, like you say, but man, oh man, harnessing these times is so evolutionary, I
Mhm.
think,
Evolutionary, that's the word.
for all of us. I
And
mean,
we all have to remember that we're all a spirit inside, right?
yeah,
All of
yeah.
us are. And we got to pay attention to that because we get so much more wisdom when we do.
This is a very powerful time. It's humorous, it's
Hmm.
painful, it's bedeviling.
Hmm.
It's frustrating. It creates a lot of anger. It creates laughter. I've been watching a lot of like Stephen Colbert at night
Yeah.
here in the US
Thank
because,
heaven for those comedians. Oh my goodness.
oh my God. And Mike Myers from SNL doing Elon Musk, fantastic. We need that releasing the pressure cooker and acknowledging the absurdity of this situation,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yes. I think you're absolutely right. The other thing I'm very, very interested in is how we can participate in steering the ship of humanity as we go through these incredible fjords and tight areas of social construction, through politics.
Right. And one of the themes that I've been thinking a lot about through this evolutionary time is transparency.
Hmm.
I've been thinking about that theme of transparency. That's where we're at. Everything is becoming very transparent, not just politically, but in our own personal lives.
Hmm.
And it's fascinating to watch, to reckon with. To I don't know if people are having the same experience, but when you're talking to somebody one on one in your daily life, it seems to be no more room for this. It seems like there's a lot of room to get real.
Hmm.
And for those who aren't being honest, or reckoning with that level of transparency, where we can dance in the realm of not just honesty, it's reality and realness and
Or you mean, what is
evolution.
the real feeling under all of this sort of thing? Is that what you're speaking about?
Well, what I'm saying is it appears that Pluto, which is the planet that's really dominating this sphere right now, especially in the United States, it's over the US chart, is really demanding authenticity and transparency. And if you put up a smoke screen, it's going to be pierced, it's going to be punctured. And I'm finding that's true in personal relationships as well. Are
Hmm.
you finding that, V?
Uh, Not so much in personal relationships right now, but I'm sure that'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
I do feel maybe it's a different way of saying this that there's a need for truth. There's
mhm,
a deep need, there's a big sorrow in amongst people because there's an idealism for it. This is slightly changing the focus a bit, but there's an idealism in democracy and so on, which is really up for grabs. And I find a lot of people are very hurting about what's going on at a personal level because it's their belief structure that's being ripped apart in many ways. So,
mhm.
in essence, that is the transparency, isn't it? And it could
Yeah.
be Pluto shaking us
w-
up.
Well, and the personal is political. And the I just think on a personal note, we really what I'm finding is there's no room, at least for me, in having a conversation and not being authentic.
Hmm.
There's no room for non-authenticity.
You mean telling your real feelings?
Feelings, truth, it doesn't have to be heavy. Just like, hey, how's it going? And going into that, not hi and walk on by. If I mean that sounds minor, but there is something in that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's definitely a caution about saying things that might disrupt people's balance at this point, too. There's a caution out there quite a bit. There's a fear in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just feeling like, for instance, I went to my mom's partner's 90th birthday party,
Hmm.
90 years old, last weekend. And I was braced for a very kind of superficial experience. I'm in Maricopa County, Arizona. Trumpyism is very big here, and I want to speak about that for a minute. But let me just continue here. It was his 90th birthday, and I was kind of dreading the falseness of it. And this is what I'm saying about transparency. I walked in, and before I knew it, I had so many people coming to me wanting to talk to me because A, they knew I was living in France, but B, they wanted to talk about politics.
Hmm.
It was fascinating. Not one
Great.
person at that 40-person party was talking about Trump. Everybody was anti-Trump and really vocal, really vocal. This thing has taken a lid off, I feel, that smokescreen. That's what I want to call it, that falseness. The party was a great example of that for me. And
That's
I was,
wonderful. So it's real
yeah,
life. It's a little bit like what I was trying to say, which is people, yeah, don't quite know where to go and they're heartbroken. They're
yeah,
heartbroken because of the camaraderie that's going on, you know?
yeah. But what it's also doing is it's also supporting and raising us all in unison
Hmm.
together.
Isn't that
And I
wonderful?
felt that at the party. I mean, I'm dealing with a very broad age range of people who just came together. We celebrated Gary's birthday, but really, we were having some pretty profound conversations.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's what I think this time is doing.
Yes.
It's pulling us together, not apart.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's a worldwide situation where a lot of things are coming to the surface all around the world, you know.
Hmm.
And I don't know what's going to happen exactly, but my um, the way my guides talk about it again is it's like a parallel tourniquet to the right wing thing that was pulling around the world, and it's going
Hmm.
to pop up to be a much more um, evolutionary tourniquet around the world, and I'm counting on that. I'm not counting on it. I'm praying on it. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're counting on it. You know,
I
you
want
know,
it so
you're
much.
a
I think we can evolve as a species. Please, God.
well, and you're a very gifted clairvoyant who not only channels MIRICRIS and you read people all day long in your private practice, and you have the skills, the know-how, the knowledge, and the confirmation that the work you're doing is really important. And people help confirm that in
Mm.
your exchange. And it's just brilliant. It's really amazing brilliance. We don't need to write about, oh, if Veronica's predictions are correct or not. We're not interested in that.
Mm.
As V has said, predictions are meant to change. And
Mhm.
what V does is she's reading in the moment at this point in time, at these crossroads, what is really occurring, and that's our best shot.
And we're counting on MIRICRIS to talk to us about what they do is they talk the loving roots that we have to go through. They're always about loving and consciousness and all of those things that are just gold to us all, aren't they?
Yes, yes. I love you. I love you, Veronica.
Thank you. I love you too, Lori. And all the people that tune in and write to us. I'm so grateful for them. I love them all too. We're all the
Yeah.
species, aren't we? And we're growing up.
Yeah. And please, everybody, our audience around the world, it's growing amazingly. Please reach out to us. put things in the comments. We want to have interaction with you.
Yes.
We want to hear what you need, what you want, what works, what doesn't. Just we want to be uplifted too, knowing that you're there for
And I
us.
want to say we love each other. The reason I say that it's so blatant is because we are learning as a species to come up with this incredible love that of life, of birds, of trees, of flowers, of earth. But I notice
Mhm.
more and more people are engaging in that feeling as well. So
Yeah. So are we ready? Shall
we're
we
ready.
call in Miracris?
Yeah,
Woohoo!
they're kitching the top of my head. Yeah. We are here and we are deeply, deeply touched by the work that is going on all round the world. You are right. It is going on round the world. I'm going to ask everyone if you'll pay attention just for a moment and reach up with your mind, your incredible mind, as a sculpting tool and draw down streams of light from the universes. They will just help you, help each of you move to the next level of interacting and the consciousness that you all aim for. So reach up with your mind as a sculpting tool and draw down some of the amazing wisdom of the that's always there, resonant throughout the universes. The wisdom is actually motion, is it not? Moving right through the universes. And now you might feel a certain kind of sensitivity to your atmosphere. And now we're ready to speak with you. But when you raise your fields and frequencies as listeners, you will notice that pops up the kind of energy that we share with you as well. You're participating in the exchange. You understand?
Mhm. Miracris, let's start with some questions that are more on the spiritual plane since we're here.
Please.
Well, since we're here now. Um, we have a question. Can humans evolve from animals when reincarnated, or do the animals stay within their own reincarnation family?
We would say generally, yes, they do, but there are always exceptions. It doesn't matter what kind of a species you're talking about. There are always exceptions, Lori. And
Hmm.
so mostly people stay within their own species,
Hmm.
mostly because each species has its own ongoing comprehension. You're speaking of someone who had, one moment, we're seeing someone that you know well who is claiming to have been a dog, I believe. And this person has been a dog and a feline. But we're seeing, and this is a wonderful being, but we're
Hmm.
seeing also that many cannot do that.
Right.
So it's not a yes or no, it's a special, each of you has got a special role. And there are a few beings that are special and they're meant to transit from one kind of species to another. You understand?
Fascinating.
Mhm.
Absolutely fascinating. Yeah, there's always an exception. Yeah, I can see that. And then, planet depopulation. Uh, Veronica and I were talking about this the other day, the depopulation of the planet, of communities, of societies, whether it's South Korea or many other places are starting to depopulate. Um, my personal sense is this is very good for evolution.
Yes.
And I want to hear, Mira Chris, can you please speak on this?
Well, once again, it's those beings who are on a cellular level choosing. You see, many beings are choosing to leave the planet. It's a good way to look at it.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is because the constriction of ego and control, for example, of resources and all that, those constrictions prevent many from accomplishing their own cellular journey, and they would just as soon be gone. And they also have made commitments to one another to leave en masse. Do you understand that?
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that there is so much life beyond the physical plane of the earth. Do you know that, Laura? You do, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're moving to different pockets of life and different pockets of frequency. Some of them are absolutely beautiful. Some are kind of resting places. There's no one way, but to clear up the world is pretty much important at this time. We're not
Yeah.
saying it would have to go this way. We're saying it's going this way, and that will send a number of beings off on different routes to explore different empowerments and different forms of life that they will inculcate. You understand?
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Well, I
Mhm.
want to be part dog, part human. So it was said, I had a psychic reading many years ago that I was actually a lemur early on in
Wonderful.
Madagascar. And you know, it's funny, I've always felt that. I've always felt I was a pretty wily creature like that. So maybe I was one of those who was able to do that.
There's one more, and we agree with you. That's wonderful. And but there's one more thing, which is some humans literally take on the feelings and the goals of various animals. You see, some will be like birds, and you'll watch them and say, "Oh my gosh, she looks like a bird sometime."
Yes.
And they aren't necessarily born in that particular species, but they have a great deal of the comprehension of that species. You understand?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
That's what
Uh,
makes humans so interesting. You never know what they're really like.
yeah, it's true. It's so complex. Um, Miracris, here's a weird one for you. Uh,
Weird is good, Lori.
does high level government in the world or in the United States, do high level officials ever use psychics?
Yes, they do. A great deal. In
Mhm.
fact, many royals throughout centuries and centuries have had their intuitives, or what would they call them?
Mhm.
Soothsayers and so on. They've had those for thousands of years.
Right, not just astrologers, but
No. Mm-mm. But beings, you see, there are beings that can read different frequencies. You understand that?
mhm,
And not that astrology is wrong or is limited, it's just one aspect of doing it.
mhm,
But
mhm,
humans have known, people have known since time began that there are ways of measuring what is up and coming. And some of them is the way, for example, back to animals, the way animals move, or a certain smell, or this and that. They've known how to interpret those.
mhm.
Astrology is a lot more intellectual, it seems, but also came in, one moment, it also came in from other planetary systems.
Ah,
So there's you do you understand, even speaking of all this, we want to say to you, isn't it interesting? These are like flecks of intelligence coming from all around the universes.
right,
And yes, people have always pushed the edge of what they think they know.
right. Are there current people in the US government at a very
Yes,
high level using psychics?
very much so.
And now I
But
sus
most of that is without public recognition. You see why?
yes, I do, because
Mhm.
they're also trying to get to the truth
Hmm.
behind the veil,
Hmm.
just as we are.
And you know also that Eastern Europe was really a haven for that kind of thing.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's turn our attention to Anonymous,
Oh my.
the hacking group, the anarchistic hacking group Anonymous, who've been around for quite some time. They had helped expose Scientology many years ago, and they're very active right now, and they're making all kinds of threats very actively to Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
What they are, you know who they are, right?
They're such a loosely formed group that kind of come and go. They defy organization and form, and they change leadership, and it's very fluid. And talk about top secret. I mean, this group is able to never name names
Isn't that wonderful?
and the pro democracy.
Mhm.
So,
One of the
MIRICRIS,
things we
yeah.
want to say to you is it's an admirable use, very admirable, extremely admirable use of the fact that you're the only one in the universe that's you, and
Mhm.
they operate from that comprehension within themselves,
Right.
which means they will come up and express an aspect that no one else is expressing on in a group. You understand?
Yes.
That's a very simplistic way of putting it, but just to reference that each person on this planet has the ability to be unique and very distinctly themselves. And these ones are using that to keep their the predictions about them are also quelled. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So it is all part of this thing, and they have to be they have to be true to themselves to be
Yeah.
part of this. They have to. And that's not an easy art, is it? You know that.
No, no, it's quite integrous. It's amazing.
It's a
But
wonderful, wonderful gift for the planet.
but also I wanted to ask, are they, I suspect that they actually have election interference information that they're going to reveal.
Yes, indeed.
Bingo.
But you know something, and you already know this, that they will only push when they're sure that
Yes.
that the walls they're knocking down
Yeah.
aren't replaced by battlefields, you see.
Yeah, they're looking for the right exact time. It's
And
all
they're
about timing.
very finely tuned, Lori. You love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Super fascinating.
Fascinating.
Will they ever, God forbid, I don't even want to ask the question, but I am protective of them. Will they ever be found out?
No.
Yes.
And you mentioned it earlier that they're like a coalescence. They're a bulging, moving, live entity, if you understand. And they know
Mm-hmm.
how to disappear. They know how to become smaller, become bigger. You see, they've got
Yeah.
the motion, the molecular motion in their heart and soul. And the
Right.
intention they have is so empowering for people.
Yeah, their hearts are in a good place. They're
Mhm.
not malevolent. They're trying to do the right thing
Mhm.
to help and evolve our society, our political structure.
Well, you mentioned malevolence, but if you think of malevolence as a spike in a social environment, whenever anyone seems to be coming up with that, that person is almost erased from their group
Ah, yes.
because they can't afford to let the poison tinge the attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're literally a cutting edge.
Yeah, yeah. I am just waiting with bated breath for the what they're going to come up with, which then leads me to, because on the flip side of that, not the bad side, but in linear timeline is Jack Smith.
Hmm.
And as everybody knows about Jack Smith, he was in charge of doing this amazing work at coalescing and presenting what happened on January 6th and some other things as well. It wasn't just that.
Hmm.
There, let me ask you, Mary Chris, was Jack Smith at the Hague? Was he talking to foreign allies at the Hague?
He was. Hmm.
Hmm. Is he building a case with foreign intelligence regarding election interference?
Indeed. Indeed. And
Wow,
there's
that just sent
great,
chills up my spine. Yeah.
yes, it's a great deal to do with, it's not simply Russian interference,
Hmm.
but Russia is essentially the dominance of the international election interference. You understand that?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
there are a couple of other countries, and some are more willing to cooperate with him than others.
Mm, okay. And does he
He's
have,
in danger. Do you understand that?
yeah, absolutely. I feel it quite strongly.
Hmm.
Is he back in the United States?
Yes, but
I,
he's carefully guarded right now. And we're seeing the group that we were just speaking about,
mhm.
they're watching him as well.
Yeah.
And that is to his advantage, to your advantage as well.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Will he, yeah, so he's back and
He will triumph, but only after he's got some very, uh, you can feel it in your body, I'm sure, but he's got some very difficult moments coming up, very cold and
mm,
very threatening.
hmm hmm.
He's a strong man.
Wow.
And also, as far as anonymous goes, they have to be the same kind of strong. You understand that? They kind
Hmm
of bend because of fear and so on. And he can't either. But
hmm.
he is, we ask people at home to send prayers, send love to him. Love is such a strong tool
Yeah.
because he's feeling, yeah, he's only a man, you know that.
Mm,
He feels like he needs some nurturing.
yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
remind yourself that nurturing is the greatest human power, if you think about it. It
Right.
can move us through some very dangerous times, but
Mm,
also needing the nurturing can sometimes destroy a person who needs to be strong and
hmm.
alone. You understand that?
Yeah, so let me ask you, are there um, former presidents working with him on this election intel?
I mean, from the other side, from
No, from in for our former presidents.
one moment.
Is it Obama, Biden, uh,
Yes.
Bush? I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's very, very interesting. You asked that question, and we say to you that, for example, Biden is not as strong as he was, but he
Mm-mm.
has a very strong spirit. You understand that? And that strength is giving a great deal of strength to Jack Smith.
Right.
Obama as well, and there's someone else from, oh, it's FDR, is really moving in behind.
Wow.
And we feel a strange need to weep right now.
Mm,
And the weeping comes from a deep, deep understanding of compassion and wanting to support and love. So these beings are sending in their love, their compassion, almost as if it's the love of a baby. You know how a baby's love is without condition?
hmm hmm.
Almost that way, we feel uh, deep, deep love.
Yeah.
And that's coming to him from, we said he needed nurturing. He's getting some from the other side. You understand, the other side being those who are
Hmm.
have left this plane, but Biden hasn't left and he's
No.
sending his as well.
So,
Biden loves, another thing we'd like to say, Biden absolutely loves this country and everything it
mhm,
can stand for.
right.
And he has
So,
more of that than most people.
okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna just keep going here.
Carry
What
on.
when is does Jack have enough information right now, or is he waiting for the right time
He
also?
has enough information, but he has a bit of a pothole, meaning there are a couple of conflicting attitudes around him. They're watching him,
Hmm
and he's under threat. You understand that?
hmm.
So it's going to be all right.
Will he stay in the US?
Um, At this point, it appears that he might head to Canada.
Oh, fantastic. Got it.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
we see probably in the Maritimes,
Mm.
and to escape, the America is full of venom. Do you know that?
So, Miracris, let's turn our attention to um, the 43-year-old US attorney. Her name was Jessica Aber, who served most of the Biden administration. She resigned the day President Trump took office and was found dead in her home 2 days ago.
Oh,
She,
terrible.
she managed a staff of 300 and prosecuted cyber warfare, war crimes, and drugs. Was this suicide? Was it
No,
natural? Was it foul play?
it was foul play. But you know, Lori, it's done in such a way is it will be very hard for
Yeah.
anyone to accuse anyone.
Hmm.
You know how the stealth, the undercurrent kind of behavior. This woman was, in a way, tracked and poisoned.
She was poisoned.
Yeah, but the
Yes.
poison looks like it can't be tracked, which is a
Yeah.
strange thing to say.
No, there is that. I've read about this.
And you know something, again, we feel tears. This was a wonderful woman,
Hmm.
and she continues to be a wonderful woman.
Yeah. So who was responsible for this?
It was part of the new administration. There's a what would you call it? You know how in Russia people suddenly are killed?
Hmm.
Who are those people that do that? Anyway, there's that kind of component that's in the American
Wow.
um, uh, hierarchy. We want to say that they're um, very negative people that are really mean and cold, and that's who did it.
Why? Why did they bother with her? She resigned.
Because she knew so much,
As a
and
federal,
she had enough information to pull down the guidance is calling it dynasty,
through
pull down the dynasty.
yes, through war crimes.
And she very much had a kind of a righteous attitude, which
Mhm.
made some people on the Trump side very wary. But also, she was disliked by the Russian
Mm. This
group as
was a
well.
this was done domestically.
Yes, it was done domestically, but there's nothing domestic right now that's been going on that is not international.
Right, I know. It's got
We
its
must remember that because it's hard to keep track of where danger lurks, you see.
gotcha. Well, let's send prayers and blessings to Jessica. I'm sure
Yeah.
she's up there wondering what in the hell happened.
And we want to send to her gratitude.
Yes,
Mhm. Oh,
absolutely.
because she has a very rich intuitive nature. She has
Mm.
a way of getting information to people.
Oh, this is
Mhm.
fantastic.
But it's going to be sort of subtly done in a period of time. So it'll
Great.
take a little time.
Wow, we have so many little angels working for us, don't we?
Really, and you must say that to yourself over and over because it's so true. But
Yeah.
some days it feels very bleak, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I want this every week we do an evolutionary hero of the week. And this week I want to call out Jeffrey Goldberg at the Atlantic magazine.
Good.
This is amazing what happened. And talk about intuitive guidance. This man was on a group chat and he received intelligence information within a group of 20 people about this whole bombing thing in from Yemen into the Red Sea by the Houthis.
Hmm.
And anyways, I'm very curious about Jeffrey. This really was quite an amazing decision for him and his magazine to do this
Hmm.
because after after the Trump admin said, oh, this is not classified, somewhat sensitive, not classified, they said, fine, not classified. We're going to publish the group chat. And they did. And I have been studying New York Times response to the group chat. I've been reading the whole entire thing, along with all the analysis by different um, uh, journalists commenting in different sections to explain more behind some of that, what was going on. Fascinating story. And this doesn't seem like it's going to go away.
It's not. It's going to bring it down.
That's what I got. My
Mhm.
intuition is screaming that this is the turning point now.
Yes,
We're
this is
at
the
we're at
turning
the
point.
twist now.
And this gentleman who had the courage to do that, he's not the toughest guy in the room,
Mm-mm.
but he did it.
Did it. Wow. Incredible strength, courage. Thank you. And let's talk about whose head rolls first out of the administration over this.
Could be Mr. Hegseth.
Mhm. Who's acting very poorly in all the press conferences about this. He's become very belligerent.
Hmm.
And part of what also happened in the group chat is the stuff they were saying about Europe being a bunch of lackeys and users. Oh, it's
Well, let me remind
Seth,
you that,
JD Vance, they were all saying it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's public now.
And this is a very low end group of people that are in power.
I
And you're
know.
going to hear that said by other administrations around the world.
So we have Hegseth. You think Hegseth will go?
He was flagrantly mocking all of the situation before, just before it was made it into the Atlantic. He was
Mhm.
mocking a great deal of it. So there's something about him that is going to attract fairly rapid undoing.
Wow.
And we suggest that it's from, and we're not sure, you see, because the stealth is stealthy, but we see the international community is going to have a great deal to bring down this entire dynasty. You see that?
Yeah, because they don't want to share intelligence now. That's one of the big news stories that's broke out of this. And what about Tulsi Gabbard? Is she going to be going?
Yes, she's gone.
What about Walls, the head of
Yes. Now
well,
he's
excuse me, let me explain which Walls we're talking about. We're talking about the head of intelligence Walls.
he's going to be he's a very strange man. Have you noticed that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he has a distortion in the way he's been telling things. That's going to bring him into some kind of trial.
Wow. But see, this is a matter of who's Trump going to fire right now.
Um,
You're fired. When's the old apprentice going to step up?
we're not certain at this time, but
Is it Hegseth?
Hegseth and Rubio,
Oh, yes. It's Stan Rubio. What a traitor that guy
and
is.
there's someone else who you have to understand the ones he's going to fire are actually quite weak,
Yes.
and he chose them because they're weak enough to put up with the heel of his shoe.
Yeah.
You see, and that's what he's going to do. He's not a very strong man himself.
So you think he's going to fire Rubio,
I do.
Hegseth, and
There are
Gabbard?
several other people.
Chelsea?
I don't know if he's going to fire
Well,
Tulsi Gabbard, but she is going to be released.
she might resign, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, because she was the one who kept saying it's not classified.
But
She's,
also she has a conflict because she has an affinity for the Russians.
yes,
So she
absolutely.
has a very interesting conflict going on, and that makes it her more vulnerable.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's about in that group chat, there was about 16, 16, 17 more people.
Hmm.
So, and Trump is trying to spin it as if Jeffrey Goldberg hacked in. It's so ludicrous.
Wasn't even necessary to hack, was it?
Or it's a hoax. No, it's neither.
Mm-mm.
This is them using, like using WhatsApp
Hmm.
or Telegram.
Hmm.
It's the same idea.
Well, you understand there was a flagrant ignorance about the fact that the intelligence is outside of their little circle.
Yeah. And the one person they didn't include is the head of the new Joint Chiefs of Staff. The head military officer in the United States was not included. So I have to ask how the military is feeling about this.
It was not, he was not included or she was not included in the group chat.
Nope. This is the one who was replaced after Trump fired the the African American gentleman
Mhm.
who had been the head of Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most highly, the highest ranking. He replaced him with this guy who was not in that chat. How can you not include your highest military ranking officer in the United States
Because
inside a
he
military?
threatens Trump.
He threatens Trump.
Mhm. That military man who was he is actually a very good person.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So you can see how they want to keep it to their group, this
Hmm.
renegade group.
And they made a mistake choosing the fellow from the Atlantic.
How did they make that error?
Because they're ignorant and they're also very full of their own ego drives, warning to everyone. They're very full of their own ego drives, and they sometimes eclipse the actual reality of what's going on around. Do you understand that? This
And
is
let me ask,
being a
was it a
party and we're safe here, you see?
so was it a mistake that Jeffrey Goldberg was included from the Atlantic, or was that by accident? I mean, was that by accident or was that
Probably
on
accident
purpose?
because they don't appear to really they haven't realized so much about the nature of the people they drew together.
Yeah,
Realization is gold, isn't it?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Wow.
Now, we
And
have
that,
often thought that it will be military people that will bring down the Trump administration.
mhm,
You understand that? And it appears that this
absolutely
is even part of that.
right. This is food for, is it fodder?
Yeah.
This is this kind of fuels it
Hmm.
even more because what they did was they put military lives at stake
Hmm.
by showing their plans. All these pilots.
Hmm.
Yeah, not that I'm not encouraging. Uh, and that's another thing. There's speculation that they chose to do it on Signal because they didn't want this information to be archived from
Hmm.
an intelligence standpoint. And it's because the operation is even controversial.
Hmm. But it is, ironically, it's archived by people who chose to keep track.
Yeah. Yeah. And now I haven't read the article, but now there's something on Venmo with some of their telephones being
Oh
public,
my.
being
Oh my.
public. I just saw this news headline.
Well, forgive us for chuckling.
Yes, please. May this just be the end of it, you know?
And may this actually be an expression of higher consciousness that came
Mm.
in and just hot boiled this interaction
Hmm.
so that the world would know, or some of the world would know.
Yeah, and we have some Republicans now up in arms over this.
There are some Republicans right now who will never call themselves Republican again.
Really?
Oh, yes, it's a very big, big heartbreak for some of them. Uh, they're devastated. Iconoclasm is an extremely shrapnel-filled thing, is it not?
Right.
Mhm.
I did want to report some really great news in Pennsylvania in the state Senate race. A Democrat flipped the red district
Oh,
just a
wonderful,
few days ago.
wonderful.
Yes, it's now been flipped. And this is certainly sending a huge signal, huge. And now, April 1st, we have special elections in Florida. I think it's April 1st. And then after that, we go New York. So there's four more House. That's for the House.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So maybe the Dems are going to do it.
And we're seeing that there is going to be a rediscussion of what it means and what the principles are. There's going to be quite a bit of learning as a result of this. And you prefer that. Most of you would prefer that.
Yeah, it's been so fascinating. The civics lesson we are getting is
Hmm.
insane. I mean, I don't think any of us knew how things work inside each one of these agencies and
Mm-mm.
how they coalesce, don't coalesce, how they report to each other, don't, and budgetary issues and how it all works. And it's just been sad, but it's been incredibly insightful
Hmm.
about the democratic process. And I think this is what was needed was that Americans really understood more about not just the Constitution, but about how the government works.
And you know that they've said it's an experiment, and the experiment is really coming up with some incredible acid now.
Yeah.
And and that's so good for people. People start to feel two things, angry, three things, disappointed, but they also feel like, okay, we're going to make this better. And there's
Right.
a lot of that coming up. You'll find much more vigor and
Wow.
a lot more awareness of being duped by money, by the groups of power.
Hmm.
People are going to be talking in more ways because democracy includes an awareness of those things and has not included it. You know that.
Yeah. Yes.
It's very, for us to observe, it's very interesting because we'll call it American integrity has to be used as the core.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Power to the people.
Mhm.
Power to the people. So this is beautiful. Is there, Miracris, anything else you want to say? I mean, this is a long show. We could go on for another 30 minutes, but
This is probably enough for now because many people will be thinking a lot about this. It takes a while for things to gestate. But
yes.
in reference to you speaking about the native population and the museum and so on in Arizona, that also is going to come up in this big discussion. The native
Uh,
people, the First Nations people, and all of that is going to start popping up. Remember, in the beginning of the American, the big fights and so on, but they always tapped the Iroquois grandmothers to make
hmm
decisions. Well,
hmm
there's going to be a rebuild of America's what they call the democracy. There's going to be a
mm
rebuild, but they're going to include a lot of the older principles that have been bypassed. You understand?
Wow.
And you'll
Wow.
appreciate that because you've got that mystical awareness of the power of these people and what they could be
Yes.
generating.
Yes. Yes.
So we're saying to you, this is a terrible time and a wonderful time.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Miracris, thank you. It's always
Thank
a
you, Laura,
pleasure.
this wonderful work that you are both doing. We love you
Yeah.
dearly.
Love you. We'll be in touch, huh?
And thanks for those of you who are listening.